it's finally 2021, and what advertising and marketing trends can we expect to see this year? One thing to look out for would be the rise of purchasing within social media applications. So Facebook has already started doing this, and it's made their customer experience far better. Basically, consumers can choose to buy products within the app directly, rather than having to faff about and click on different links and different websites and visit different websites to make their purchase. YouTube is also trying this with their new shoppable ad format. So usually when brands would advertise on YouTube, they would just place their ads in front of the videos. Now they can also have the option to place ads underneath the video with direct links to purchase a product. And we expect smaller platforms to also follow in these footsteps. But one thing you can do as a brand is to adapt the way you promote yourselves online and sell your products online as well.
A trend that's taking particular shape moving from 2020 into 2021 is that of the culling of social media channels. Now, when we talk about the culling of social media channels, we're really diving down into the fact of allocations of time and understanding where the returns are coming from. For some businesses, they might see a lot of engagement and a lot of interaction, a lot of business coming from platforms like LinkedIn or YouTube, but maybe not so much on platforms like Facebook and Twitter. Obviously for some companies like ASOS and such, they use things like Twitter for customer service, and it's a really vital and important outlet for them. But other social medias, say like YouTube and such, there's a little bit less application there other than sort of promo stuff. So understanding how your audience is reacting and understanding where your audience is in terms of conversions is becoming more and more important, especially in the age where everyone's sort of trying to tighten their belts with lockdown and COVID and such. So it's going to be interesting going into this year to see how approaches are going to change in terms of whether brands are going to be locking off, not using some part of their social medias because they don't see it as relevant or they don't see it as where their audience is, and where they'll be promoting much higher rates of engagement, both two-way and producing content for the platform so that their audience can be reached properly.
In 2020, marketing and advertising changed like it has never changed before across the globe, and it's still set to change, I think, this year. And when I think about the events industry and how that has managed to pivot to become a more digital arena, it's just fascinating to see some great examples as to how people have adapted to the environment. I think in 2021 some of the ways that that will evolve furthermore is with more virtual interactions with an audience online. So at the moment, video events can be very outward facing. So the viewer comes in, takes part in a virtual event. Virtual event is hosted and the viewer takes part at their end, whereas I think there needs to be a connected more virtual interactions. I always remember in a meeting many years ago, I got everyone to get their phone out and to send a tweet and use the hashtag that was part of my campaign, and it made sure that my campaign got the social mentions I was looking for, and it got everyone to engage on that next level. When I think about when I watched TV when I was younger, I used to watch Don't Forget Your Toothbrush on a Friday night. This was pre-internet days. This was a TV show in the UK, and the viewers at home were asked to take part in a slot whereby they were asked to turn their lights on and off to show that they was watching the show. And that meant that neighbours across the street would all start turning their lights on and off, and it was dark outside, and it was a fun way to interact and get next level. And I think that is what's going to happen with events and online this year.
So obviously in 2020, events had to go virtual because of the COVID pandemic. You could not meet up with anyone, let alone in a group. So there was a real necessity for events to become virtual. But by becoming virtual, what companies actually found is that they opened themselves up to a new audience. And this is obviously because virtual events are a lot more accessible for people. So because they opened themselves up to a new audience, and because these events are a lot more accessible, they found a higher attendance at virtual events compared to like traditional face-to-face events. And obviously this is because people aren't having to worry about travelling to the event or the cost of travelling to the event, whatever it is. They're not having to worry about these. So this is a real positive for the people attending the event, But also the positive for the companies is that because of the higher attendance, they were actually generating a higher ROI at virtual events compared to other events. So I think this is a trend that is definitely going to stick in 2021. It's a trend that's going to stick not only because of safety reasons, obviously we probably won't be able to meet up in groups for a while, but also because the lessons that have been learned from virtual events is amazing, and who wouldn't want to generate a higher ROI if they could. So virtual events are definitely here to stay in 2021.
Hi, it's Gavin here from S Media, and this video is about AR. Now, one advertising trend that I expect to see used a lot during this year is AR, which is known as Augmented Reality. Now, with most of us staying at home these days, we can't really get out and about into the retail world and see what's what, etc. So, AR is a creative way of implementing new technology into your marketing strategies, especially through social media. Now, two examples of brands that have used AR in the past is Home Depot and Adidas. Now, Home Depot have unleashed an app a few years ago called Project Culling, and it enables you to transform your home into what it would look like if you had different paint jobs, paint colours, different shades. You get to see how the lighting affects each room, how the objects affect the shades and the light in each room, etc. So you really get to have a virtual test of how your new look home will look, which is a creative way of basically like reaching out to your audience. Adidas had a filter on Snapchat, which was a virtual locker room, which was a virtual way of you trying out the trainers and seeing what it looked like and accessing new features for these trainers. Now, not many brands have been using AR recently, but I expect this to change throughout this year. It's a creative technology that can be used for social media. That is going to help, that's for sure.